Hey guys, Stealth here and welcome back to Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. Today, a nation we have not yet seen fight in the tournament. It's the US. It's the Super Alaskas. The Super Alaskas have quite a lot of firepower. They have 12 barrels, 13.5 inch per. They're going to be facing off against the British. Now, the British, much like in the previous tournament, are a fan of using secondary armament. They got big 7-inchers. They also have bigger guns than the Americans' primary in the form of 9 15-inchers. So, slower rate of fire, bigger range, bigger punch, generally. Depending on the type of powder and the type of ammunition that you use, obviously. So, is it going to be the Super Alaska by Robert Ducky, or is it going to be the Empress as designed by Angelman? Let's find out. This tournament is kindly sponsored by the Block Zone. They have all sorts of different projects to keep you busy, and I am happy that they were willing to sponsor this tournament. Now, the winner is going to get the Bismarck, which is an enormous... it's not even that big. It's way bigger. It's 1.25 meters of a model. It's 7,000 pieces and change. You're going to have your hands full if you win the tournament and get this thing shipped to you. But they have tons of other stuff. They have the Nighthawk, for example. I love the sleek look of this thing. And part of the 17 in my name is based on the Nighthawk. They have a range of supercars if you're into that stuff. Again, these are not small projects. This Neon Evo is, not only not cheap, but also 3,500 pieces. Now, speaking of the not cheap, if you add code STEALTH upon checkout, you can get 10% discount. So that saves about 20 bucks on this particular design. Head down to the link down below in the description, click on that, and you're going to get the 10% discount included. If not, hit the website theblockzone.com and add code STEALTH. Thank you to the Block Zone for sponsoring the project. Sorry, for sponsoring the tournament. And again, if you win, you gain the Bismarck. Now, onto the video. Opening salvos have been fired. Samoa, Super Alaska, and Pennsylvania engaging the British with long-range firepower. These 13.5 inchers have far more range than they actually need for this particular battle. The British are immediately returning the favor. Their 15-inch guns are bigger, thus most likely going to be firing a little slower. When it comes to rate of fire, I'd say it goes to the Americans for now. But that can get in their way, because throwing a whole lot of shells at the enemy does mean that you're going to be chasing splashes. I.e., you're going to be finding that there's a whole lot of splashes coming down around your target, and you don't know which shells are yours. And the AI simulates this, or rather the game simulates this, in a way that goes, hey, there's a whole lot of shell splashes around, I don't know whether this is friendly, whether I need to adjust, and so we're going to give your ship a little bit of an accuracy debuff. So far, it doesn't seem to work either way, because nobody's getting any hits in. Except for the British. Because one of the first, I think it's the Super Alaska, they took a hit from a 15-incher. I also saw a very small hit from a 7-incher. These 7-inch guns from the Brits are dangerous. They are potentially going to burn down ships. We've seen them do it before, and it's entirely possible that they can do it again. They have a lot of them, and they can fire relatively quickly. I mean, faster than your main firepower, so yeah, you're going to be throwing a lot of shells at the target. Now, of course, the American ships are prepared. They have a veteran crew, they have maximum bulkheads, they have spacious quarters, so burning away the crew is not likely to work. High-end barbettes to prevent flash fires, modern armor. They themselves also have high-capacity HE shells, and they have 5-inchers, but the 5-inchers aren't quite in range yet. The 5-inchers only open up at, let's say, 10 kilometers. Slightly less if you want to do HE. The British, with their 7-inch guns, fire 20 kilometers. So twice the draft of the guns of the Americans. The Americans are getting some decent damage in on the trailing British battlecruiser. It does seem like we're just trading long-range fire. The secondary... Ooh, big hits on Super Alaska. The secondaries aren't that dangerous yet. But the closer we get, the more that's going to change. Now, I believe neither party is carrying any torpedo launchers. Got the 3-inchers over there. It's going to be either over here or not at all. Nope, they don't have any. The Americans are prepared to deal with torpedoes. They have an anti-torp 3. So if push comes to shove and they fight themselves against, for example, the Italians, they might be able to tank a torpedo or two. They will also detect them with Hydro 3. None of that very important to this particular battle. Ooh, some more damage in on the trailing ship. She's starting to flood. She has some rudder damage. The Americans also suffering from flooding. No rudder damage as of yet. Oh, they got the flooding under control. Super Alaska right now doing quite okay. Pennsylvania bringing her barrels back down as she's going to reload. And the reload on these ships is only 24.2 seconds. So in only a few more seconds, we're going to find the ship ready to go again. And when she shoots, she is going to be using armor-piercing shells, which have an okay potential to deal with plunging. So that's what you see happening right here. Main deck pen. They don't overpen, they don't underpen. They just do a whole lot of damage. And the British don't really seem to like it. It seems like the British might have switched their fire, now targeting Samoa. And the Americans continue with their main target, the trailing battlecruiser, which has been taking some damage, but it's nothing too serious yet. Yes, there's some flooding, sure, but I'm not seeing any towers or main turrets knocked out, let alone any flash fires. Most of the ships are very well protected against flash fires. Oh, there's more flooding. That means that it's quite unlikely to see any turrets flying about in this tournament, although not entirely impossible. The Americans really want to get rid of this ship. It's hard for me to figure out when exactly the AI decides to switch targets. And sometimes they just don't seem to do it at all. Ooh, more flooding on the stern. With a couple of big hits. Yep, more pens. We're doing pretty even. We've done 6.8k with the Americans and 3.5k with the British. Samoa is tanking the fire. That was a really big hit. That's another 1,000 points of damage from the Americans. So far, the Super Alaskas are in the lead. Oh, but the Alaska here, the Super Alaska herself, just took a big hit. That is starting to add up. You can see her accuracy dwindling. 32% for the Samoa, 12% for the Super Alaska. She's fighting to keep the ship stable enough to get those shells on target. She's also changing her formation. She's going to fall in behind the Pennsylvania. This does leave her a bit vulnerable as she's going to be broadside. The Americans still dealing damage to the trailing ship, but now the Samoa is going to start taking... No, actually, it's the secondaries that are engaging the Samoa, and she's on fire badly. Big hit on the Super Alaska. The British ship continues to flood, but doesn't seem to be going down just yet. I'm concerned about the state of the Samoa, because that's a lot of fire damage going on. And we're only getting closer. They're going to land more and more and more 7-inch hits. And I suspect that the Samoa is going to go down to overwhelming fire, so extensive fire damage. And I kind of dislike seeing that, because it's, you know, it works, yeah, sure, but it does feel a bit cheesy. I've done it plenty of times. I've done it in Taskmaster videos, I've done it in Shipyard Champions. It works. It's a very quick, efficient way to get rid of a ship. But in these tournaments, I would rather see these ships slug it out a little longer. And I might actually get my wish, because it does look like the British are about to lose a third of their DPS. The Super Alaska is still being targeted by the British. The secondaries are peppering the Samoa. She seems to be doing a little better than a few moments ago. I mean, she's still hurting, yes, but she's not at risk at the moment of losing the whole ship. The British can't quite say the same. This ship is listing badly, somehow still able to fire her guns, despite that list. The Super Alaska is also going to be in a pretty bad state. She's trying to swing her turrets back around towards the enemy, dealing damage as much as she can. Guns are not yet on target. She's not looking... Yep, there she goes. She's still firing. She does seem to be listing quite badly, so I'm surprised, actually, she's able to fire. I was going to wait and see an angle warning here. Ooh. More flooding. The Americans do have an okay amount of armor, but these British guns hit really hard. Let's see what their pen chance is. Yeah, 23%. So the bow is penetrable. The stern is penetrable. The main superstructure is very much at risk. And the ship is burning, flooding. Surprisingly, no superstructure damage, nothing critical. No turrets have been lost, although A and B have been badly damaged. Samoa, still fighting the fires. Not at risk of losing her crew. She's at 17.4%, so she should be fine. The British are about to lose a battlecruiser. This thing is listing so bad and still flooding that it's going to be a minute or less until she goes down. Partial pens, ricochets even, and she's gone. So while the Americans are battered and bruised, the British have lost a ship. So now the Americans can focus their firepower, well, what is left of it, onto... Yeah, there we go, we got an angle warning on the Super Alaska. We can focus the fire from the Americans now onto fewer British ships. But I think the playing field is going to be leveled rather soon, as the Super Alaska is flooding and her buoyancy is down to 2%, 0.5%, 1%, and she's gone. The Super Alaska has sunk. So now we're 2 for 2. We, however, have a damaged battlecruiser in the form of the Samoa on the American side, and the British seem perfectly healthy. The 5-inchers are still not able to pitch in, meaning that the Americans just don't have the same kind of DPS that the British do. The British, with those 7-inch guns, are just adding up with the fire damage. Look at that, 6.5k, and it just keeps adding up quicker and quicker. The fire damage on the Samoa... Ooh, we got some flooding on the British. I'm only seeing partial pens so far. If the Americans want to win, they're going to have to very quickly... Oh, extensive fire. They're going to have to very quickly eliminate one of these ships. Most likely going to be the leading one. So now it's going to be down to Pennsylvania. Can she win this alone? I personally rather doubt it. Because she's looking at a very healthy British battlecruiser and one that's taken some damage. But not nearly as much as she would probably like to see. And she's doing pretty consistent damage. She's landing full volleys, which are causing pens and fire damage. But she's going to be facing so much incoming fire that I think it's going to be a very short period of time before the Americans are going to be either overwhelmed with the amount of fires, or just flooding, or losing structural. Crew, not a concern. Pennsylvania, she... Oh, wow, that was quick. Holy shit. Another extensive fire. Yikes. Yikes. Well, at this rate, I'm gonna have to outlaw the extensive fire option. I'm gonna have to start focusing ships, or forcing people to send in ships which are focused on using AP shells. It doesn't necessarily mean that the AI is going to use those, though. That's the problem. I can't force the AI to set a particular type of shell. I mean, yes, I can do it for the United States side, in this case, for your fleet. Enemy fleet, I don't have the same level of impact. So, another extensive fire overwhelm. Let me know down below in the comments what you guys think of this. Now again, extensive fire overwhelms is not how I want people to win. It works, sure, they're going to get the points. The US has been beaten. They did at least give the Germans. They did at least give the UK a bit of a bloody nose, so yeah, they didn't exactly come out unscathed. But we're seeing too many extensive fire overwhelms, and I hope that that's going to get addressed. Please make fire damage a bit less... Well, maybe not less potent, i.e. you can still take structural damage from it, that's fine. Just make sure that it doesn't kill off the whole ship. If you just get hit by, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 shells of HE. You really don't... Well, I think it doesn't benefit the gameplay, let's put it that way. Anyway, adding the scores, it's going to be another point to the UK. This means that in the standings, the UK is now tied with Germany. 2 for 2. And the US, unfortunately, no victories as of yet. We're going to see the US again in the next round for the A pool, which is going to be against Germany. The current reigning, well, not strictly first placed. I mean, they're sharing that with the UK, but still, they got the points. Is the US going to be able to handle those German ships? Maybe. The US have more firepower than Germany. The US have the 12 barrels, Germany has 8. It could make the difference. First, though, we're going to have another match. It's going to be Spain versus Japan. And this is going to be that weird 18-inch plus 13-inch plus quintuple torpedo launcher solution. So whether this is going to work out, it's going to be interesting. Let's see, guys. I hope you guys enjoy the tournament. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Don't forget to check out the Block Zone. Use the link down below to get the 10% discount. I've built a bunch of these projects already, and I really like them. And I hope you do too. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you soon for the next one.